Let's go into the night with Rick Ballou on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Money, don't take fame, don't need no damn credit card to ride this train. Hop on in! Get the Jags to come out to this. Power trip, Hornet's Nest. Come on out. Stay out. Unlike my Seminoles who came out to the freaking sound of silence and hello, darkness, my old friend. If this can't get you going, what can? It's all about the immediacy, right? The first couple of plays, scripted or not. And, hey, we heard from Doug Peterson today. We heard from Trevor Lawrence today. They're scripted. And I've always laughed at that. Not to take away from their profession, but I've never been a buyer of scripted plays, especially if you're on defense first. Do you script defensive plays? Adam Fuller does. Doesn't matter if you run the ball 52 times. Adam Fuller is going to stay in a 4-2-5. He's going to push two safeties way, 10, 12 yards downfield. Adam Fuller scripts plays. But you don't script defensive plays because you got to understand, try to figure out what's going on offensively. But the whole scripted play to me has changed because what if on that opening drive they take back a kick? What if on that opening drive they orchestrate one of those very lengthy, double-digit drives, taking up 75 yards, and you take more than half the quarter off the clock? And all of a sudden you look, and it's nearly 100 degrees. It's in Miami. Your defense is already gasping for air. They're already suffering through fatigue. If you're planning on coming out and slinging it and throwing it, is that the smart way to go about it? Because obviously if there's an incomplete pass or there's an interception, either the other team has the ball or the clock's not running. And getting the clock to tick when you are on offense is always important. I get it and I understand it. I would just really love to know the percentage of staying true to scripted plays depending on what your opponent did when they had the football. All right, we got a lot to do over the next couple of hours. I'm fired up, really am. It's a Wednesday night. This is our final show before football. And that, to me, is insane. And it's such good news for the majority of our listeners, right? The majority are Florida State fans. They are Florida fans. In some aspects, your season is already over, okay? It's the 4th day of September, and your season is over. But you have the Jaguars, who begin the 30th year of their organization. 30th year, where the expectations are high. And, maybe the untold message for the 2024 Jaguars is we finally heard from Shad Khan, right? Shad Khan says very little about football operations. Obviously, he's been involved in all of the decisions with the organization and business-wise and being a part of the brand new Miller Electric Center, obviously getting a more than a facelift, a major reconstruction, London, no matter what it is, he's involved in all of that. But when it comes to actually out there on the football field, if you look at owners around the NFL, Shad Khan doesn't say much at all. Well, he has this year, whether you would consider it direct or indirect, coming out talking about who should be calling the plays. And that remains such a major storyline. It's almost taken on a life of itself. It's almost become comedic to this point. I think there's a lot of different ways to look at it. What if you give it to Press and let him start? I think the most difficult part of the schedule is this first month. 4 games against playoff teams. What if you go 0-4? What if you go 1-3? What if you really are struggling? Then you start taking on rookie quarterbacks, and even though it's Brissett who's going to start right out of the gate for the New England Patriots. You kind of get the feeling that by the time New England and Jacksonville play across the pond, it'll be Drake May time. And I'd much rather see Drake May, right? I think you have a better chance of winning. Brissett is one of those grizzled veterans. You should win that game anyway. If you look at it talent-wise, I mean, New England's right there with maybe Carolina as the least talented team in the NFL. But let's say press is still calling them then. And Jacksonville struggles. And, let's say they win a game 17-16 or something like that. Then, maybe midway through the season, that is when you actually do make the change. I've been a believer for quite some time that Peterson is going to be the guy calling the plays. But it just feels like with every hour that passes, I may end up being dead wrong. But Shad came out and voiced his opinion. I think for the most part, this has been a really good offseason for the Jaguars. They avoided, for the most part, distractions. The two guys who I guess got in trouble are no longer with the organization, the Zay Jones situation. Even with Brandon McManus, it was announced yesterday. Not even sure if most of you are aware of it, but that altercation or whatever the terminology of it was on the airplane, that case has now been dropped. And again, that's now removed from the Jags. The biggest problem was the quote-unquote worst fantasy league football player in the history of mankind, pillaging and ravaging and stealing, $21+ million from the Jacksonville Jaguars. And they didn't know. I mean, that's just, wow. But anyway, we'll let that one pass, right? Shh. Let it go. They're suing. I mean, who doesn't sue nowadays? But outside of that, it's been nearly perfect, right? You got 3 key guys signed. Everyone's healthy. I'm going to give you the Miami Dolphins injury report here in just a couple of minutes, man. It is lengthy. It is problematic. And noticeably absent on this list is 2 of their wide receivers that we have talked an awful lot about, Tyreek Hill, who's not on it, and Jalen Waddle, who is not on it. So they're cleared. They're ready to go. We talked about them actually practicing on Monday. It's a thumb for Tyreek Hill. We're not even sure exactly what it was, undisclosed when it came to Jalen Waddle, but he's not on the injury report. We didn't know for sure what it was with Jalen Ramsey. Today we do know because of the injury report, and it's a hamstring for Jalen. He did not practice today. That's big. Here it is Wednesday, just after 6 o'clock. We'll certainly keep you updated on that throughout the course of the night. And even our good friend, the Philly Godfather, who's coming up here in 25 minutes. I mean, this is a long, lengthy list for Miami. It is very short. For your Jaguars, it is only special teamer Daniel Thomas with the Achilles. He was limited today. So Jacksonville goes into this game about as healthy as they have been in quite some time. And that is very promising if you look at the organization. I think his name is Warren Sharp. Is that right, JJ? His work, I really appreciate the effort.
He's like a gambling guy.
He is. And, I never thought that I've always been a trend guy, but I never really got into algorithms. I never really got into using that type of formula to wager. But more and more and more and more people are. And anyway, he consistently, I sign up to his newsletter, and he consistently brings things to my attention that I was not aware of, okay? It's almost like, remember the original, was it George Michael and the Sports Machine? That's how I kind of envision him. And for those of you who don't know what George Michael is, man, I'm going back 30-some-odd years. I mean, this was like before SportsCenter, right? It was like the original highlight package, and it was great because it was like an R2-D2 Lost in Space type of old computer, and he would literally say, let's go to the tape, and he'd push like this huge red button, and all of a sudden you get a highlight package that would show right up in front of your face. And it was like, back then it was like, oh my God.
1984.
1984. The Sports Machine. Yeah, so that's way before your time. Do you even remember that?
No, I've never heard of it.
Oh, man, it was incredible. It really was. I mean, at the time, it was like, look at this, man. I mean, George. I mean,
Like it would do a simulation of the game, like.
No, it was just a recap.
Oh, it was a recap of the game. Oh,
he was just giving you highlights. But the way that he would go to the tape, I mean, he like pushed the button, and all of a sudden you'd see like the handoff is to Earl Campbell, and he's busting loose, and he's running through the killer bees of the Miami Dolphins, and he's got one of those shirts back in the day that they were the tear-all shirts. You couldn't grab them; they just rip right off.
Very 80s.
Yeah, all you'd see is Earl with the huge shoulder pads running, and George Michael was like the first guy to do it. Well, that's kind of envision this dude. He just hangs out with all these computers, and they spit out info after info after info. Well, it got to the Jaguars, and there was a ton on Trevor Lawrence, which was an indictment. I don't even know if I talked about it last week or the week prior, but it was something like Trevor Lawrence's 1-in-18 lifetime when the Jaguars do not force a takeaway. Okay? Pretty alarming statistic. But this one really caught me off guard. It looks at the 22 season and the 23 season. And obviously the Jaguars, even after an 8-3 start, really fell on some difficult times. In 2022, they were ranked 7th in the rate of plays to gain 15-plus yards. Okay? Also number 8 in the rate of plays to gain 20-plus yards. Case in point, a big play offense in 2022. Last year, they went from 7-8 to 22-18. All right? With 32 teams in the NFL, that is a massive setback. He also goes on to talk about wide receivers. Trevor Lawrence and his incompletions, 22% of them were quote-unquote because of receiver error. Now, again, this is a statistic that I didn't know people kept. I've always looked at drops. You can go to, Pro Football Reference. I live on that once the regular season begins. They do a nice job on quarterback throwaways, on quarterback misses, and then you can look at drops, and there's a few other categories as well that'll kind of take you through what the quarterback does and what the wide receiver does. But I wasn't aware of wide receiver error. They were number 3, third highest in the NFL last year. Okay, Trevor Lawrence as well a season ago, 120 passes of 15-plus air yards, which was 6th most of any quarterback in the NFL. But just 42% of those were completed. Think about that. Of course you want Trevor to air it out. Of course you wanted Calvin Ridley, who ended up being pedestrian, right? Ended up being average. I'll pull it up here in a minute, but just look at the completions to targets last year for Calvin Ridley. It has to be one of the worst in the history of the NFL. Calvin Ridley didn't know what was going on, okay? And you couldn't say that too loud to him because he'd just break down, right? You remember the one day there where he got all upset with, I can't believe you tough media here in Jacksonville. You're asking me all these tough questions. And Nashville's a great place for him, right? What do they love in Nashville? What's number 1 in Nashville besides country music? What is it, NASCAR? Is it hoops?
I was going to say country music's probably number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5.
That's why you're here, because you got that type of info. I would say absolutely. And 5 would be what, NASCAR?
Honky tonks, yeah.
Yeah. Sooner or later, you're going to get to football, but, I mean, that difficult Nashville media will understand that you got to leave Calvin Ridley alone because he'll melt down right in front of you. But last year, Lawrence threw 120 passes of 15 yards or more, and only 42% of them were completed. That is absolutely frightening. They struggled to throw the football with any consistency downfield. That's why you had Evan Ingram with what? I think it was 114 receptions last year, and I think he averaged about 8.5. That's why that's why Travis Etienne almost doubled his intake in receptions from, which was really his second year, but because of the injury, it's his third year if you go back to what he did in 2022 and 2023. So where's your belief? I just gave you the numbers, and we know Zay's gone and Agnew's gone, and we know that Calvin Ridley is gone. Where are you now when you look at the return of a healthy Christian Kirk? when you've seen the progression in 1 month, and it was enormous, in Brian Thomas Jr. Gabe Davis never has caught more than 48 balls a year. Okay? He can bring you a different dimension by going over the middle, by being a guy who's not afraid to take hits, and also look at his average per. Look at the average per with Brian Thomas Jr. last year in the NCAA. He was the tops in all of college football, more than 17 in reception. And Gabe Davis hasn't caught a lot of balls, and he's a big physical wide receiver, but look at his average per. He's got the ability to go deep. It's not something that I talk about an awful lot because I'm still of the mindset of run and stop the run. And the Jaguars could not run the ball last year. They were the worst running team in the NFL if you consider what the offensive line didn't do. Statistically, they were better. But we all do understand that ETN led the NFL in breaking tackles and yards after being hit. Number 1 in the NFL was Travis Etienne. We also know the other side of that, 25% of the carries, Jacksonville was stuffed at the line of scrimmage or behind the line of scrimmage. But that's always been my way of looking at it, right? Big plays are great. Passing the ball is how you score, and it's what you love as a fan. But running the football controls the game, and running the football wins the game. Okay? The last really huge game for this organization, January of 2018, in New England, they could not run the football. Hackett and Marone tried to sit on a lead. Very predictable play calls, and they could not run the ball. So it was great. And look what happened the week before when they scored, 45 in Pittsburgh. One of the most electrifying games in this franchise's history. I think it was a 45-42 final. Maybe Leonard Fournette's best game of his career. And yes, a big play is huge. But to me, it's always about being able to, it's like a ninth inning closer. And that's what you do when you run the football. But anyway, I'm kind of getting away from my point. This is about big plays. Jacksonville can improve on that just somewhat. I mean, they were 8-3, ended up 9-8. You improve on those statistics just somewhat. I'm not saying going back to number 7 and number 8 respectively like they were in 2022. Okay, but last year they dropped way down into the mid and late 20s. What if you can push that up to the mid-teens? How many more wins does that give the 2024 Jacksonville Jaguars? So, the ability to hit the big play. I want to begin with that tonight, give you an opportunity to kind of sort that out, and then tell me what you believe with what you've seen, including Trevor getting paid, the confidence in him, the offensive line under a microscope. Can they run the ball with the addition of Tank, who last year certainly wasn't really a part of things? And again, you're talking about 3 new wide receivers. And that really includes Parker Washington, right? Who last year limited opportunities, but there were so many injuries at the wide receiver position. I think it's a real good way to look at this team. And it's a huge what if. But if that can come into it, what it leads to is hopefully the ability to be able to run. Because most teams would love to be able to say, we'll run it, and then we could set up our pass. There are exceptions. Certainly Kansas City. Tom Brady in New England was that way for 20 years. This organization right now is not that way. This organization is, we're going to pass. And then if we can pass, then we could settle down and run. There's no way they can line up against Miami and say, we're going to run on first down, second down, and third down. They don't have the talent to do that. They don't have the offensive line to do that. You have to pass. You have to be balanced. And if Jacksonville can, it's going to be another element to this offense that is very promising. If, you as a Jaguar fan right now, I would think that you feel pretty good about the possibility of that getting back to 2022 or close to it and get totally away from what we saw in 2023. Opening comments brought to you by Shmunez Vision. it's really amazing to me. DirecTV was so bad the other night, right? What a racket that was. And, they tried to ask for a cancellation fee. I was a freaking customer of theirs from 1995, right? 1995. I have 9 TVs up burning DirecTV. Just sucking cash from me. Just stealing it from every bedroom in my bar. I have TVs in my house. My daughters have been, just sucking it out, right? It's a racket. Well, that happens in so many different businesses and so many different practices. You know why? Because you do not understand what's going on. I'm not blaming you. I'm just saying you don't get it because you're not a part of it every day. And this includes the life of eye care, particularly people taking advantage of financially when it comes to cataract surgery. Okay, what the hell is cataract surgery? Oh, my boss had it. You don't know about it, right? I've learned about it, but certainly I wasn't well aware of it going back a couple of years ago. And, when you get with your eye doctor, they'll say, what we're going to do here, Sonny, we're going to have you speak to our surgery counselor. Who in the hell is a surgery counselor? If someone is going to perform surgery on my eyes, I want to talk to the doctor who is going to do that. Case in point, Dr. Neil Shmunez did it to my right eye 8.5 years ago. But they're going to bring you through this, individual who's gone to school and worked really hard, and they got the glorified title as being a surgery counselor. So someone who has really no idea about performing surgery is going to tell you what to expect. And obviously, cha-ching, 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 it's going to become more and more expensive. That's not the way they work at Shmunez Vision. They talk to you directly. Dr. Neil Shmunez, Dr. Catherine Shmunez, all the questions you have about cataract surgery, about any type of eye surgery, you're not talking to a surgery counselor. You are talking to the doctors. It's one other reason why they're the very best around. And it's why they care about their folks, theirs, who visit them time and again, because they take out the time and care to make sure you are fully aware of what is going to happen. Set up an appointment today. Just go to Shmunez Vision. You can also check them out on Instagram at Shmunez Vision. Get testimonials from everyone who has been visiting them for quite some time. The Philly Godfather is about 12 minutes away. Your comments are coming up at 641-1010 on the text line, brought to you by Lifetime Enclosures.
Step into another football weekend with Pregame Friday.
You got to go up-tempo with urgency.
Absolutely. Get the news, notes, and inside stuff you need to get ready for game day. Brought to you by MyBookie and Dream Finders Homes on 1010XL.
Nimnick Buick GMC is proud to be the #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville. Frank Frangie here. They're committed to providing the best selection of Buicks and GMCs for you to choose from with a best price guarantee. Nimnick has been in business for over 81 years because they've been doing business the right way. Stop by Nimnick Buick GMC on Phillips Highway, just south of I-295, or shop online at nimnickbuickgmc.com. That's Nimnick, your friends in the car business since 1941. GMC, we are professional grade.
Hey folks, Rick Ballou here for John's Auto. They've been a staple in Jacksonville going all the way back to 1985. At John's Auto, they service all makes, all models, cars, trucks, diesel, you name it, they do it. Whether it's routine maintenance or a complete engine overhaul. Call John's Auto on Arlington Road. That's 904-743-3857 or go to johnsautomotivejacks.com.
Bueller Air and Plumbing presents Are You Cool?
Today's contestant, a dust bunny breeder from Jacksonville, Florida, meet Steve Johnson. Welcome to the show, Steve.
It's great to be here, Alex.
Yeah, you don't have to answer in the form of a question, Steve.
What is this game show?
See, that's another question.
Are you going to ask me about air conditioners?
Yeah, okay. How about we just send the Bueller guys over and you can annoy them with all your questions? Johnny?
That's right, Steve. Bueller Air and Plumbing can answer all your air conditioning questions, repair options, replacement models, and how to make your AC last longer while saving electricity, making sure you are cool.
Where is the parking lot?
You're killing me, Steve.
Stay alert with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
DivorceMenOnly.com. This is Kenny Lay of Kenny Lay & Associates. Our firm specializes in representing men in family law. That's all we do. That's our only focus. We can help with all of your family law needs, such as divorce, custody, alimony, and child support. For over a decade, we have helped thousands of men with these types of issues. We even have an appellate division ready to challenge a judge's ruling. If you need a family law attorney, go to DivorceMenOnly.com. DivorceMenOnly.com. Offices, Jacksonville.
I'm Ben from Beard's Diamonds. My father and I buy our stones direct from the diamond cutters. No middleman, no big company overhead, no commission salespeople, and we pass the savings on to you. Before you buy anywhere else, remember, Beard's Diamonds will beat any competitor's price.
In the St. John's Town Center or at beardsdiamonds.com.
Jags Hall of Famer Tony Baselli puts on his gold jacket every Monday morning at 7:20 on The Drill.
Does look good.
It's Hall of Fame Monday with Tony Baselli.
Good? It's great.
Brought to you by Heritage Roofing of North Florida on 1010XL.
Introducing Gatorade Water. Alkaline and electrolyte infused for great taste. Gatorade Water, always in motion.
Find it at your local Winn-Dixie. For the athletes who give everything, nothing beats Gatorade, the studied, tested, and proven fuel of the world's greatest athletes. Gatorade Water, proudly supporting high school sports on the First Coast.
This right here is as good as it gets. This is life getting lived without obligations or complications. This is filling your cup and savoring the moment. This is the gift of presence, served to you in a place where there's room for everyone and enough to go around. And the best part, it's always Sonny's here. Sonny's Barbecue, local pitmasters since '68.
Drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds, which could be life-changing. I mean, you could put that money towards concert tickets for your daughter to see that singer who sings about painful breakups. And one song will inspire your little beauty to break up with that beast she's dating, Brian. Instead, she'll date someone who's nice and worthy of her love, not someone who addresses you and your spouse as bro. And it's all because you could save money switching at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states.
Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you.
Instant Keys saves the day if you have lost or broken keys. They can program new keys and remotes for nearly every make and model of vehicle at a fraction of the dealership cost. Fast, honest, and reliable locksmith service. Call 722-1111.
Instant Keys. Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you.
Are you looking for a place to outfit your truck or van? It's Catlin Truck Accessories. For 105 years and 4 generations, Catlin is the name you can count on. This is Keith Catlin, and we know trucks and vans too, from Lear toppers, ladder racks, van shelving, strobe lighting, rolling lot bed covers, and everything in between. If you want quality products and great customer service, there's only one name. It's Catlin.
Who can you count on? Count on Catlin.
For 105 years, you can count on Catlin.
Tired of changing out bad sod year after year? Get it done right with Roundtree Sod. Big or small, they have it, and always supplied farm fresh. For a lush, legendary green lawn, call 7414-SOD for a free estimate. 7414-SOD.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Into the Night with Rick Ballou on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
All right, tonight's show is brought to you by Thermal Engineers, and they're hiring right now. They're a staple here in Jacksonville. They have been for over 20 years. Commercial HVAC contractor. And if you're a qualified technician and installer, you got to listen to this. Top pay, 401k, full benefits, and a signing bonus. Just go to Thermal Engineers, Inc., or call 230-1172, an equal opportunity employer. 230-1172, Thermal Engineers, Inc. Again, top pay, 401k, full benefits, and a signing bonus. Talk about it often. I'm a golfing buddy of mine, Eric Neal, in the industry for more than 20 years. He just left. He went to Thermal Engineers because it was such an impressive company with a phenomenal opportunity. Go to Thermal Engineers, Inc. The Miami Dolphins' entire starting contain is on the injury report. Okay? Both corners, Jalen Ramsey and Kendall Fuller. Ramsey had a hamstring. Actually, if I look clearer at this now, I do apologize. It was a veterans rest day for Kendall Fuller. All right, joining Calais Campbell and Teron Armstead, who also had the day off, just veteran rest. Jordan Pryor's got a thumb, and Javon Holland's got an ankle. So 3 of the 4 guys dinged in the secondary. Okay? 2 of their linebackers, David Long, has actually that is another veteran rest day for David Long. Jalen Phillips, an Achilles, is unable to give it a go today. And on the offensive line, let's see, Aaron Brewer, their starting center, with a hand. He wasn't able to work, and I guess that is officially it for Miami. So this is a team that is beaten up, okay? Jacksonville is not. They have only 1 player on the injury report, and that is with the Achilles. That is 4-core special teamer Daniel Thomas. This is really promising right now for the Jaguars health-wise. Okay, I need to apologize, and I'm going to right now, because I need to get better, and this is not a joke. This is serious stuff. We got to take another break because I got to bring in the Philly Godfather. I've been told many, many times that I got to shorten my opening segment and other segments, and it's not that I am a smart ass and I'm like, whatever. I get so excited. I mean, the bottom line is I could talk for 2 hours without a commercial break. I honestly could. It's how I'm wired. It's how I am. I understand that commercials are incredibly important to each and every one of us here, not to mention the business owners who are rewarded severely by advertising with us. It is my biggest flaw. I don't know when to shut my pie hole. But I'm going to do it right now, and I'm going to get better at this. Coming up in 5 minutes is the Philly Godfather.
Here's Linda Beaver.
Hey, everyone. It's football season, and we wanted to go to the drawing board to make this year's predictions. Let's compare our 2 blonde all-stars. Most touchdowns, best pricing in the market. Most passing yards, gives the most for your trade. Most receptions, free oil changes with every purchase. Super Bowl champion, wow, customer service. This looks like a winning season for everyone. Come see Beaver Toyota in St. Augustine or Beaver Chevrolet in Jacksonville, where you can score big all season long.
Of course, Roland Reich Plumbing has awards from Folio Weekly and the Bold City's Best. Now, Roland Reich is also confirmed as the Google Guaranteed Plumbing Service. Because when you do plumbing right, the word gets around. That's Roland Reich Plumbing.
This is Greg Huntington, a.k.a. The Mangler. I'm on the winning team at Waste Management. WM is the largest sustainability company in North America. If your business needs sustainable environmental services for waste removal and recycling collection, then you can count on the industry leader of WM to deliver results. Your services will be completed in a timely, safe, and eco-friendly manner. Go to WM.com, and get signed up today. If anyone can talk trash, it's the Mangler. Go Team WM, and as always, Duval!
Universal Roof and Contracting has been protecting Florida homes from the elements for over 30 years. Call Universal Roof and Contracting today for a free roof inspection and get 15% off your roof repair or replacement. Plus, flexible financing options and payments as low as $115 a month. This offer expires September 30th. Call 855-ROOF-HELP.
License number CCC 1330747, CBC 1258484.
UniversalRoof.com.
Hey, David again with Royal Pest Services. TAP Insulation stands for thermal, acoustic, and pest control. Keep your home cool, noise out, and pests dead. Visit RoyalPestServices.com to schedule a free inspection.
This date in sports history is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On September 4th, 1994, Miami quarterback Dan Marino throws 5 touchdown passes and Dolphins win over New England, setting an NFL record with his 18th game of 4 or more touchdown passes.
Atlantic Self Storage, the official storage partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Need to make room to watch football in your home or need a place to park your boat or RV? Store it all at Atlantic Self Storage. Over 50 locations in Northeast Florida. 24-hour access, all with month-to-month leases. Moving, they can help with supplies. They make storage easy. Go to AtlanticSelfStorage.com or call 877-WE-STORE to find a storage solution near you. Go Jags!
Hey, it's Matt Hayes. So another Mike, who lost 40 pounds with Awaken 180, was in the same position I was in. And you are most likely confused.
I spent so much money on personal trainers in the last 10 years. Didn't have a lot of discretionary income left. So I tried to listen to everybody else. What do you eat? Everyone said, eat healthy. Define eating healthy. Cut out sugar. Tell me what foods don't have sugar. So their process to me was an education. That was really the eye-opening thing to me is I had 10 choices of food in front of me every day. When I was on the run in sales, I was making 8 bad choices. I wasn't eating the 2 good ones. And I loved the 2 good ones. I just didn't know they were good. So I made bad choices every single day. And the program, Awaken 180, really changed my mind, opened my eyes up to, it was a true education on food, what to eat, what not to eat, and it's been fantastic.
Knowing what to eat and the ability to navigate nutritional labels, a proven, clear path for weight loss. Exactly what you will receive with Awaken 180. Leave confusion at the door and do what we did. Awaken180weightloss.com.
I'm Stacy, and I want to tell you about my fogged up window fiasco at my house. I called up Mac at Baker Glass, and he told me all I needed was a glass replacement. The process was so easy. All within a few days, they came out, measured, called me with an estimate, cut my glass, and came out to install the new ones. Now my view outside is fog-free thanks to Mac and his crew at Baker Glass. And my neighbors think I got some fancy new windows.
I'm Mac with Baker Glass. No one treats you better.
What player has the longest hitting streak in Major League Baseball history?
It's always a good idea to compare homeowners' insurance rates instead of renewing year in and year out. Log on to southernoak.com and get an instant quote in minutes.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
Joe DiMaggio holds the record for longest hitting streak, which lasted for 56 games in 1941 with the Yankees.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
Former Jaguars corner and first-year head football coach at Duval Charter School at Bay Meadows, K-12, Aaron Beasley here. Are you looking for an A-rated K-12 school prioritizing academics, arts, and athletics? Duval Charter School at Bay Meadows offers a rigorous curriculum to develop strong minds with an additional focus on growing good hearts. DCSB has been an A school for 8 years, and our tuition is free. Now enrolling. Apply at baymeadowscharter.org.
If you're looking for custom metalwork, look no further than Superior Fence and Rail. Whether it's custom railing, shade structures, or custom entry gates, their expert team controls the turnkey process. From CAD design and raw metal to powder-coated finish and expert installation. When you choose Superior Fence and Rail for your custom metal project, you get a project that's, well, superior. So get off the fence and call Superior Fence and Rail today.
This is Dr. Kevin Kaplan, head team physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jags, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
Trevor Lawrence now enters season 3 in an offense that's spearheaded by head coach Doug Peterson and offensive coordinator Press Taylor. The expectation is now that Trevor has the trust of the two to give input as to what makes him comfortable within the squad's offensive sets. Lawrence spoke to the media ahead of their contest against the Miami Dolphins and discussed the subject of picking the plays that he likes.
With every play, there's a purpose, and you're trying to see how the game unfolds and how they respond and all those things. It's it's definitely like a chess game. So there's a lot that goes into it that, I don't do all the prep work on that, but obviously I have the say on if I'm not comfortable with something or if I want to add something, or, he asked me if he's deciding between a few things. So yeah, we talk about all that.
I'm RJ Saunders with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars update.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Garber Auto Mall phone line.
Hello.
We can wiggle it.
Well, you talk about starting off with a 12, 13, 14-play drive, taking double digits off the time clock. That was the Philly Godfather. last Wednesday, ladies and gentlemen. I have him here for winning 5 out of his 6 plays, including giving us a free game that night between Baltimore and Los Angeles, taking the over 8.5, which was a money check collected by the 5th inning. Let's bring in the legend right now. He is the Philly Godfather, and he joins us each and every Wednesday night here on Into the Night. Mr. Godfather, always a pleasure, sir.
Thanks for having me on, man. They always say it's all Greek to me since, I'm Greek, but last week it was all green to us.
Man, I guess. You had the Canes, you had BC, you had the under on Notre Dame A&M. You also played the under on BC, Florida State. You had the Orioles and the Dodgers. The only miss I have for you was Clemson. So you went 5 of 6. That cash is green.
Yeah, and the game closed 10.5, so we had a 3.5-point edge in that one. But closing line value doesn't mean you're going to cash a ticket. I'm not sure. Did I give you guys the under in Penn State too or not?
You did not. I only asked you for those games.
I got you.
Yeah. All right. Well, good stuff. Let's get right to it. You are rolling. The premier game of the weekend is Texas and Michigan. Your thoughts on this play?
Yeah, Rick, I actually bet this game back in May. I bet Texas -3. I released it on Twitter, knowing the price would just go up by the time these two teams met in week 2 of the college football season. I mean, you got a first-year coach, first-year QB in Michigan. You look at the Wolverines' expected win total. It went from 10.5 last season when I bet them at 9-1 to win it all, down to just 9 this year. So there was going to be a regression on this team. Texas, on the other hand, I mean, they got a QB with the 5th best odds right now to win the Heisman, on a team with the 3rd best odds to win the national championship. And their win total was set at 10.5 before the season started. And if you look at their schedule, other than Georgia, I mean, I can't see the Longhorns lose another game this season unless they really get bombarded with injuries. But at the current price, it's all about the price. Let's make a deal, right? Texas right now is up to 7.5. And that's a huge number on the road in front of all those Wolverine fans at Ann Arbor. It was going to be over 100,000 there. At that number, even though I got a big wager on Texas -3, I kind of lean towards Michigan, plus 7.5 a little bit. I also like the under more. I went under 45. I think you can still get under 43. That should help you cash a ticket. Texas still has a solid defense. I mean, last year they played lights out, and I don't see much of a fall-off this season. They shut out Western Kentucky in Game 1. Michigan, on the other hand, struggled offensively last week. I think they had less than 270 total yards. They averaged about 4.5 yards per pass attempt against a Fresno State defense that isn't even half as good as Texas. So with those things combined, I like the under. So under 43, I like that more. I lean towards Michigan a little bit, but I personally went under 45, and at 43, I think you still cash a ticket.
Philly Godfather, you've been joining me for years doing this, and I've noticed now in consecutive weeks, last week you got a huge summer number on BC, and now you get a big summer number, only -3 on Texas. Are you against Michigan? Are you doing it because of the Michigan coaching change, because the whole world felt sorry for Florida State, or is this something that you normally have done?
Well, I look for any predictive indicators that will tell me that, I'll have a huge edge by game time. So if I can get 4.5 points of closing line value, I mean, that's huge. Each point's worth about 20 cents. So you do that repeatedly over and over and over again. You get the best of the number. You're going to win long term. And at -3, I thought it was a great number. I thought Texas had what it took to maybe get close this year to winning it all. And I thought Michigan would regress. But now it's 7.5. You cross over the key numbers of 3 and 7. Yeah. Now you're at 7.5 with that type of defense. I think the defense can keep them within the Vegas number of 7.5. And that's basically how I'd look at it.
Okay. We're going to wrap with Jacksonville, obviously, in Miami. And in some books, that's moved a half point. We'll get there in just a moment. But you and I went back and forth before the start of the show. You're going to put together a teaser here this Sunday that involves the Jets and the Bengals.
Yeah, you can get a 7-point teaser. Tease the Bengals right now. I think the current line's 8, so you can get them down to -1. And you can get the Jets at +11, 11.5, depending on where you shop. I actually like the Bengals this year to possibly win the whole thing. I nibbled on them at 14-1 to win the Super Bowl. And when you look at the Patriots, I mean, their season win total was set at 4.5. And even though their defense is pretty good, offensively, they're projected to be one of the worst units in the NFL. And you got Joe Burrow on the other side. Why I bet the Jets? Well, they're loaded on defense. One of the best defenses in football last season. Aaron Rodgers is healthy. San Francisco's always tough, at home. But when you give me 11.5 points in week one. You're going through key numbers of 7 and 10 in a game where the posted total is 43.5. It's really hard to resist. Then you add the fact that the team that lost the Super Bowl the previous year are just 5 and 19 against the spread in week one. I think we got a great shot at cashing that teaser. Another, historical trend I looked at, underdogs in week one, Monday Night Football games are just 29 and 12. Underdogs in week one of Monday Night Football games are 29 and 12 against the spread. So forget about the 4 points. We're grabbing 11 here. I think it's a great teaser.
Very interesting. Philly Godfather, let our listeners know how they can get a hold of you.
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at Philly Godfather. You can go to my website, thephillygodfather.com.
You always talk about big numbers, and again, in some books, Miami had been a 3-point favorite. It might have even been lower at one point, but it's consistently been 3. Then I saw today it moved to 3.5 in a couple of circles. So your thoughts here on Jacksonville, a healthy team, going to take on Miami, which is beaten up on the defensive side.
Yeah, and back on June, I put around June 7th, this line was Dolphins -4 in the soft market. And since then, like you said, it's been fluctuating 3.5, down to as low as -3. But that key number of 3, there was some resistance. There was some sharp money that entered the market. We took a nibble on Miami. And historically, it's hard to argue with that sharp move on the Dolphins at -3. I mean, Trevor Lawrence has had a hard time getting the money on the road in his career. He's 11-14 against the spread on the road, while Tua, quarterback and at home, is 18-8 against the Vegas number. So I did some digging. I talked to my guys behind the counter in Las Vegas about the ticket count. They told me around 65% of the early public money is on Mike McDaniel's Dolphins team. So I never want to be on the side of the public, me well enough.
Right.
And even though Trevor Lawrence scares me a little bit in this spot, he tends to make more mistakes away from home. Around 24 interceptions in the last 3 seasons on the road compared to just 11 at home. I think the Jags at +3.5. I would love to take them at +4. I think their defense can keep them in the game. Like you said, they're a healthier team. Last year, the Jags were 12th in success rate on defense and 13th in EPA, and they look much better on paper this season. They got a new defensive coordinator who did a remarkable job with the Falcons. I mean, they were 5th in success rate last season, and he's got more talent on this team. I'm hoping it gets back to 4, but if it doesn't at +3.5, I think the Jags stay within the number as long as their quarterback doesn't lose a turnover battery.
All right, +3.5 for Jacksonville. As we let you go, you said you nibbled on Cincinnati 14-1 to win the Super Bowl. Did you make any other preseason, whether it was a season victory total or, a Super Bowl play?
Yeah, I bet the Eagles to win the NFC East. I think Dallas regresses. I think the Commanders get a little better, but they might be a year or 2 away with their hotshot new quarterback. I think the Giants stink altogether offensively, defensively. So I took the Eagles at +115 to win the NFC East. Look at Detroit Lions on the NFC side. I like them to win the whole thing as well at 13-1. I put a big wager on them. I got 5 dimes on them at 13-1, which would pay back $65,000. I went over in the Detroit Lions win total, over 10.5. I went under 49ers win total of 11.5. I went over 6.5 wins for the Arizona Cardinals. And if I remember any more, I'll put them out on Twitter.
So you got the Detroit Lions for the first time ever going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I tend to lift curses off of teams. I mean, to win it all. So I'm hoping I do it again this season with the Detroit Lions. I mean, offensively, they're stacked. If you look at the 2 best quarterbacks in the NFC, statistically, Jared Goff and probably Matt Stafford this season, and they might face each other in the NFC Championship game. I think the defense got better. I mean, against the spread over the last 3 seasons, this Lions team has been lights out. So this might be the year where Detroit wins the Super Bowl. And I think 14 of their 17 games are in domes this year. So it's really set up for them. As long as they don't, trip over at the finish line, they might get there.
Philly Godfather, always a pleasure. Hey, once again, your information for our listeners.
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at Philly Godfather. Stop by thephillygodfather.com.
Keep it rolling, Philly Godfather. We'll talk next Wednesday.
Good luck, guys.
There he goes. Red hot last week, 5-6. My goodness. I mean, that's like right now's the time to quit, right, JJ? I mean, you've won 5-6. I mean, how much better can you do than that?
When I do that, like the next weekend, I'll bet like 1 game for like no money, knowing it's all going to come full circle.
So he likes the Jags +3. I mean, that's such a different number. He loves 4s. But, I mean, 3.5 is huge. It's huge. It's a field goal. And, you know, how many finals are we going to see when it's all said and done throughout the course of the year where it's a 23-20 final or 27-24 final?
Countless.
The half point is just huge. Now, don't succumb to that. All right, if you're, you know, if you're out of Mayport on one of the docks and, you know, Leo over there is like, it's 3. Say, forget about it, right? Go play it at 3.5. Go play it at 4. Do some shopping. Protect yourself. All right. I'm actually going to take this break on time. I told you I'm getting better. I'm getting better. John Osher is getting set to join us from Jaguars.com. He is the senior writer. He joins us each and every Wednesday night at 7 o'clock. When we come back, we'll talk with him as we roll through a Wednesday.
Let's go, guys.
We can't wait until kickoff, so we get game day started extra early with the Terminix Kickoff Show.
This is it. Day you've been waiting for.
Presented by Clearwater Irrigation and Gatorade. 5 hours before kickoff on 1010XL. Now you can watch 1010XL shows all day on X, Facebook, and YouTube. Brought to you by MyBookie. Experience Vegas from the comfort of your phone anytime, anywhere. Sign up today. Use promo code 1010XL.
Who has the best lineup this season? Honda. Cars, trucks, SUVs, vans, hybrids, and electric. This is one of the greatest lineups Honda has ever had. And now is the best time to purchase or lease one. Visit your local Honda dealer now. Remember, only a Honda is a Honda.
Ballou here for Smunez Vision. Why Smunez Vision? Well, I've been with Dr. Neil Smunez now since I got back to Jacksonville in 2006. 37 years of experience he has. Smunez Vision is a family organization that focuses on personal high-quality medical and surgical eye care. Dr. Catherine Smunez is fellowship-trained in cornea and cataract surgery and all refractive surgery. Combined, that's 30 years plus in laser eye surgery. Visit SmunezVision.com today. Care you can see.
Introducing Gatorade Water. Alkaline and electrolyte infused for great taste. Gatorade Water, always in motion.
Find it at your local Winn-Dixie. For the athletes who give everything, nothing beats Gatorade, the studied, tested, and proven fuel of the world's greatest athletes. Gatorade Water, proudly supporting high school sports on the First Coast.
Home of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Make the move to ABS, Advanced Business Solutions, and you won't hear your employees complain about the copier anymore. Instead, you'll hear this. Advanced Business Solutions, your local Xerox dealer.
PRP treatment is kind of the thing these days, and in many cases, it eliminates the need for surgery. This is Sheridan Tootin, and my experience with PRP from Southeast Orthopedic Specialist has been nothing short of great. I'm really feeling much better now. Ask your Southeast Orthopedic Specialist doctor about PRP treatment.
This is Dr. Kevin Murphy with Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, where athletes are treated like pros.
Relieve pain and get back to life. SOS. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
We've seen it 1,000 times. Insurance companies using the same tired excuses not to pay. They'll say you're really not hurt, or that your injury is from an old accident. That's why it's so important to hire a law firm who has their own medical experts, who know how to fight excuses with facts. When they bring excuses, we bring the truth. And truth is power. Farah and Farah. Here for you, here for good. Jacksonville.
Need or want cash? Beaches Jewelry and Pawn has cash available. Ready to buy guitars, surfboards, jewelry, firearms, tools, and especially gold. They need it all, selling or pawning. Get cash on the spot at Beaches Jewelry and Pawn in Jacksonville Beach.
A customer called DuckDuckRooter saying they had some nasty stuff backing up inside their home. So we went with our camera to look inside their plumbing lines. And sure enough, tree roots in the sewer line. Need to see what's blocking your lines? Call our team to locate the issue and provide solutions to resolve it. 904-862-6769. Visit DuckDuckRooter.com. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jags. DuckDuckRooter, your fully insured and certified plumbing contractor, residential and commercial.
Hey, sports fans, this is Hayes Carline from MyBookie. Oh, it's that time of year. Winning season is back. Football is back. And MyBookie's here to make sure you're ready to cash in on the action. They do such a fantastic job. They've got live betting. If a heavy favorite gets off to a slow start, that's something to look to take advantage of. They also have a fantastic loyalty program. Loyalty pays off with MyBookie. The more you play, the more you win. It's simple. Climb through the tiers of the loyalty rewards program to unlock even more epic promotions, exclusive giveaways, and bigger rewards. MyBookie is the lock of the century. It's going to be such a fun season again. They've got prop bets as well. If you can think about it, if you can imagine it, MyBookie is going to deliver it for you. When you sign up, be sure to use promo code 1010XL to lock in some bonus on your first deposit. Bet on anything, anywhere, anytime, and make sure your season is a winning season with MyBookie. And don't forget that promo code 1010XL.
Salvatore's famous pizza now in Jacksonville, Tapestry Park off Southside Boulevard. In honor of our favorite player, number 16, Salvatore's large pizza with lots of mozzarella and one topping, only $16. Coupon at salvatores.com. Dine in, pick up, and delivery. $16 for a large Salvatore's pizza with lots of mozzarella and one topping. Coupon at salvatores.com. Tax and delivery extra.
Collisions happen on every play in football. Collisions also happen every day on the road. If you need auto body repair, from a $30 job to a $30,000 job, trust San Jose Collision in Mandarin.
Joe C. for Hard Rock Bet. It's the sports book for every kind of player. Straightforward, simple enough for the first-time bettor, but built with all the features experienced players expect. Plus, try it now. If your first bet doesn't hit, you'll get a bonus bet back up to $100. Easy deposits and fast withdrawals. PayPal, Venmo, and more. All you have to do to get started is download the Hard Rock Bet app. Go online, hardrock.bet. Offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida to wager. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned about gambling? Call 1-888-ADMIT-IT.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Into the Night with Rick Ballou on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
All right, a college note before we bring in our good friend John Osher of Jaguars.com. It has now been announced by Billy Napier, Graham Mertz with the concussion, so it's going to be DJ Lagway. He is going to be your starting quarterback coming up this weekend for the Florida Gators.
Now, another great guest on the Garber Auto Mall phone line. Hello. We can wiggle it.
That'll be a home date for Florida against Samford. We'll have that for you right here on these airwaves, 7 o'clock on Saturday night. And then for all the pregame, in-game, and postgame, keep it right here on your home of the Jaguars. Let's bring in our good friend John Osher, senior writer, Jaguars.com, goes into the night with Rick Ballou. Hello, Johnny.
What's up, buddy? How are you?
Man, I'm doing great. You're a Florida grad, but I've always considered you kind of a level-headed Florida grad. I'm a Florida State grad, man. It feels like those seasons are over for the fan base. Fan base is, thank God it's Jaguars football coming up on Sunday.
Yeah, I am a Florida grad. I covered them in the 90s, as some people may know. And, you know, when you cover a team, for me anyway, it's sort of tough to be a fan.
Yeah.
You know, so I kind of lost a lot of my Florida fandom as a football fan, but I covered them obviously in 93 and 94 during the start of the heyday. And it's Gary Smith, who covered FSU during that time, and I were talking today, as a matter of fact, that, you know, when we were covering it, you just sort of assumed 10 wins a year.
Right.
They might lose to the other guy.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to be 9-2 and 10-2. And I didn't have the perspective then, Rick, to realize that wasn't always the case with those schools. So it's it's changed.
Yeah.
But yes, the Jaguar football season.
And Gary Smith was on the beat when I was over there, and we don't have time for it today, but because things have really changed. But my goodness, being on the college beat today compared to being on the NFL beat. I mean, credit the Jaguars and their PR staff. They give us access to players and coaches all the time. College game, man. I mean, I used to have Danny Cannell and Andre Cooper and Warwick. I had full, the keys to the program with Bobby Bowden. Yeah. Those guys would come live on and sit down with me every week. You could barely get a college kid on the phone anymore.
Yeah, and I guess I'm naive and old and all those things, but it wasn't just full access to anything you wanted at Florida when I was doing it.
Yeah.
But there did used to be an idea that this is supposed to be fun on some level. And it feels like on that level, they've taken a lot of the fun out of it for all of it, I guess. And again, maybe I'm the old man, get off my lawn and all that, but it feels that way a little bit, and that's too bad.
It appears Jacksonville is healthy, and that is good news. You look at the Dolphins report, it's a tiny bit misleading because there's veteran day offs, but three of the four members of the secondary for Miami right now are not 100%, and they were limited today in practice. So why don't we begin with that? What do you make of this team? It's been we've watched a lot of guys come back from off-season injuries, particularly free agents, but here we are 4 days away from the start of the year, and they appear to be ready to go.
Yeah, and it appears Daniel Thomas will have a chance. Important special teams guy, but all starters feel healthy. There's some good fortune in that. I think there's some tactical approach during preseason, maybe a little bit with that. With Armstead, for example, they didn't want him touching the field because they really didn't need him to. But, I think it's significant and a storyline that all the players you talked to talked about this being a tough camp. So it's not like Doug Peterson said, hey, I'm not going to do anything and make sure everybody's healthy. So they came through that to be 100%. I don't know how to analyze it in terms of how it happened, but it's a lot better than the alternative.
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm with you on the Dolphins. I don't know how beat up they really are. So many veteran days rest in there. I think they'll be pretty healthy for the most part. And I think it's a big challenge for the Jags.
John Osher, our guest, joins Rick Ballou each and every Wednesday night at 7 o'clock. What are you looking for more than anything on Sunday?
Well, a few things I kind of want to see. I think that Walker, Hines, Allen, Hamilton, and Armstead, to me, are the base of the defense. I've said it many, many times. I think if that fearsome foursome, if you will, if they're dominant, which I think they can be, then I think that negates a lot of what a lot of teams want to do offensively because you're getting pressure and disruption without blitzing. And any defense that does that gives offenses trouble. So I want to see that group win on Sunday and make the Dolphins' speed not matter as much.
Mm-hmm.
It's the old Giants-Patriots formula, right? When they got pressure on Brady, it negated a lot of other things. I want to see 3rd and 1 not look like 3rd and long offensively. And I think that's a storyline all season, both of those things. But I'm also intrigued to see what this offense looks like now that Gabe Davis and Brian Thomas Jr., it feels like more vertical options. I don't know that we saw what the offense is going to look like in preseason. They only played 5 or 6 series. What does this offense look like when that's incorporated? I don't know that we saw it. And to me, those three storylines, you don't see everything in the preseason for an NFL team, how it looks in week 1.
Mm-hmm.
How those three things look in week 1, I think, will tell us what this team's going to be.
Yeah, it's a good point, and I began the show with that tonight. I think it was Warren Sharp who had it, but the new algorithms and the new math is still baffles me a little bit. But I really wasn't aware of the fact that how much they dropped off from 2022 to 2023 as far as the big play, and this new category of receiver era was just glaringly awful for the Jaguars in 2023. If they can improve on both those things, I mean, you're talking some more victories just on that base alone.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it is sometimes stats are important, but it's what they mean. To me, the fact that they couldn't run on short yardage meant that teams generally played to take anything like that away from them last year because they weren't scared of running. So, I think if they can run and make teams fear that a little bit, then that opens what you're talking about up.
Yeah.
And I also think, the fact that last year, the only way they were going to get that last year was Calvin Ridley. Now it feels like it's going to be a little more organic where that sort of play comes from, where it doesn't feel forced. Those things feel, again, I think those are going to be storylines. If they're better at those three things by 25%, however you measure that, then I think they're a lot better as a team. And they're a team that went 9-8 anyway, struggling in a lot of those areas last year.
Yeah. Final thought from John Osher. Again, senior writer, Jaguars.com. Get everything from John and his staff. Just go to Jaguars.com. We understand what this league is like, and it's a business, and players go from team to team. And, no matter who you visit, there's a former Jaguar on another roster. But I think it's going to be interesting now with Calais Campbell. And, Jalen's not 100% with that hamstring. He didn't practice today. But having Calais Campbell and Jalen Ramsey on the other side of this Jaguars offense is going to be pretty intriguing.
Yeah, it's been so long since either of them were here that I don't know that it's, I don't know how much of a storyline it is. My guess is Jalen's hard feelings probably aren't as negative as they were in 19 when he left. Nobody's really left, but it's certainly fun. I mean, it's always fun to watch Jalen play because he's polarizing. There's always love for Calais. I think part of the fan. I think there's fans, Rick. My feeling with Jalen with the fans is there's a faction that always are going to love him. There's a faction that's always going to hate him because of the way he left.
Yeah.
But there's no faction that's going to ignore him, and he always matters. So my guess is there'll be somebody that he wants to cover man-to-man all day on Sunday, Rick, because that's how Jalen's built.
And he'll be screaming at Anthony Weaver if he's not. I mean, that much we can probably look for if that's, in fact, the case. Hey, John, always a pleasure. Thank you, man. I'll see you over there tomorrow.
Look forward to it, buddy. We'll see you.
There he goes, John Osher, senior writer, Jaguars.com. Get everything from John and the staff. Does a really good job. I've given you my opinion on Jalen Ramsey. I'm always going to be a fan. I mean, I am. I'll tell you one thing about what's going on in Tallahassee right now. They needed Jalen Ramsey. Not only is he a great football player, but they need an alpha. And when a guy like Brian Turner commits a 15-yard personal foul after they make it a one-possession game and he blows up a guy on kick, and instead of having it at the 25, they have it out almost to midfield because of a 15-yard personal foul, and then they go 6 plays and add another touchdown. Jalen Ramsey's a guy that would get in his face. I don't know if Florida State has a guy in their roster right now that can do that. And we had that conversation with another former Seminole earlier in the week, and Niall Lawrence Stample, a guy who played with Jalen Ramsey on that national championship team in 2013. So I've always been a Jalen fan, and a lot of that is because he went to Florida State. I know here, faking the injury and asking out is you're never going to be able to repair that. And I get it. I do. I also loved him as a trash talker. The 8 years that I was the Jaguars sideline reporter included his entire career here in Jacksonville. And that man ran it. Things that he said I cannot repeat on the radio. But I tell you what, if Jalen was on my side, I would always have one of the can. We call it the can in the business, the headset. I would have one ear open just to listen to what was coming out of the mouth of Jalen Ramsey. It was phenomenal I mean, right before the A.J. Green thing and stuff like, I mean, it was very exciting to watch a man who cared about his craft the way that he did. And I know, again, most of you probably now can't stand him, but it was pretty cool while he was here. Danny Van Sickle is here. Let's get caught up with him. He's back from Dublin City, Ireland. My goodness, man, that wasn't good news, at least during the game. But I had a lot of good buddies who went out there, and they said it was a sensational time. Let's talk to him about Florida State, certainly about the huge one in Miami on Sunday. The Jaguars are healthy, but they're a 3.5-point underdog. Can they go to Miami and begin the season 1-0?
Every special teams player waits for his number to be called.
We got this.
After the game, we call the Crown Royal Special Teams Player of the Game.
Game ball, baby.
On 1010XL.
Good job, team.
For all your plumbing needs, call on the Bold City's best.
The water heater's broken, disposal doesn't work. Toilet's overflowing, the wife's going berserk. There's water all around me, the faucet sprung a leak. The only way to fix it is to call on Roland Reach, 'cause I got the blues, yeah.
Roland Reach Plumbing. Lose the bad plumbing blues and find your peace with Roland Reach.
Yeah.
Brackish Vodka, the official vodka of UNF Athletics, 100% made in Jacksonville, is available at all local liquor stores. Visit Browdy's, Total Wine, ABC, Shores, Golden, Sahara's, Golden Ox, and more. Drink our gluten-free San Francisco Spirit award-winning vodka and see why it's the smoothest vodka you can buy. When you drink Brackish Vodka, you support all of our local employees and all the money stays in Jacksonville. Drink Brackish Vodka and live life slightly salty. Proud partner of the Jaguars.
Are you ready to upgrade your home? Experience the winning combination of style and performance with Renewal by Andersen energy-efficient, custom-built replacement windows and doors. Buy one, get one 40% off replacement windows and doors. Plus, 0 down, no payments, and no interest for 18 months. This offer expires September 30th and restrictions apply. Renewal by Andersen, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit rbafla.com for details.
License number CGC 1527613.
This Date in Sports History is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On September 4th, 1994, Miami quarterback Dan Marino throws 5 touchdown passes and Dolphins win over New England, setting an NFL record with his 18th game of 4 or more touchdown passes.
For lost or broken keys or nearly any make and model of vehicle, call 722-1111 for
Instant Keys. Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you.
At Hidden Hills Golf Club, we truly love the game of golf. We invite you to book your next tee time here and enjoy a golfing experience that you might not find at other public facilities. Visit us at hiddenhillsgc.com. You'll be glad you did.
Wake up. Breakfast. And Nature Made vitamins. Whatever your morning sounds like, Nature Made fits right in. Whether you're looking for vitamin C or a multivitamin to get key nutrients, we've got you covered. Now that's a good morning. We take care of you so you can take on your day. Start your day with Nature Made, the #1 pharmacist-recommended vitamin and supplement brand. Based on a survey of pharmacists who recommend branded vitamins and supplements.
Veterans, did you know VA mortgage rates have plummeted and you can now access up to 100% of your home's equity and turn that into cash right now? Hey, it's Roger Moore, President and CEO of Loan Pronto, announcing our VA Equity Advantage program. This VA offer can get you $50,000, $70,000, $100,000 cash out with no junk fees and no hassle. With APRs in the 5s, you can pay off all those credit cards, personal loans, car loans, and get one easy-to-manage payment. Veterans we help save on average $850 per month. And listen, if you're a veteran with a current mortgage rate over 6.25%, we can do a streamlined refinance with no income verification and no appraisal, saving you hundreds a month. At Loan Pronto, we respect what you've done for our country, and we show it. Call now and ask about our special VA Equity Advantage program. 904-999-1508. 904-999-1508. LoanPronto.com. 904-999-1508.
Equal housing lender. NMLS 166-1781. Subject to lender approval. NMLS ConsumerAccess.org.
Hello,
Hello, First Coast. I'm sure by now you have seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We're an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We're committed to customer service, reliability, and have an unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today from GFL, Green for Life.
Bueller Air and Plumbing presents Are You Cool?
Today's contestant, a dust bunny breeder from Jacksonville, Florida, meet Steve Johnson.
Welcome to the show, Steve. It's great to be here, Alex.
Yeah,
You don't have to answer it in the form of a question, Steve.
What is this game show? See, that's another question.
Are you going to ask me about air conditioners?
Yeah, okay.
How about we just send the Bueller guys over and you can annoy them with all your questions?
Johnny?
That's right, Steve. Bueller Air and Plumbing can answer all your air conditioning questions, repair options, replacement models, and how to make your AC last longer while saving electricity, making sure you are cool.
Where is the parking lot? You're killing me, Steve.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
1010XL is presented by Farrah & Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Let's go into the night with Rick Ballou on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Big weekend ahead of us. The Jaguars kick off the 2024 season. They're a 3.5-point underdog in Miami against the Dolphins. The total's 48.5 points. They are healthy. Injury report out for the first time this year. And the only guy on it is Daniel Thomas with an Achilles. He was limited today. Several players from the Miami Dolphins on the injury report, including 3/4 of their secondary. That includes Jalen Ramsey with the hamstring. He did not work today. I'll go through that a little bit later on in the program. Danny Van Sickle's a good friend of mine. He is back from Dublin City, Ireland. Outside of the game, how was the trip?
Trip was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Once in a lifetime experience to be able to travel to another country and see another culture and be around tons of Florida State fans. It was like a bowl game, except for the actual game itself. Didn't feel like a bowl game, but everything around it was like going to New Orleans or Pasadena or someplace like that for a end of the year bowl game. It was awesome.
I got to go at one point. My brother just went in the summer with another former Noel, Peter Tom Willis, who he plays golf with 3 times a week. And I've always envisioned Ireland kind of like London, like it's raining all the time. And if I take a vacation and want to play golf, I either want to go where it's tropical or I want to go to the mountains. But my understanding in Ireland, with those links courses and everything else, it is absolutely spectacular.
Yeah, the first day was typical. It was raining, when we got there. But after that, the weather was great. You would have a squall that would come in off of the coast because you're right there by the water. I mean, surrounded by water. So you would have great weather for maybe 3 or 4 hours. And then out of nowhere, you would have a squall that would just come in off the coast, dump some rain on you, and then it would clear itself out of the way. But overall, it was just a phenomenal trip. Got to see the countryside, went to the Cliffs of Moher, went to the seaport town in Galloway. The people were super nice over there. It was just a great experience, man. I wouldn't change it for the world.
I'll try to say this politely. I love Duval. I love Jacksonville. The one thing it's missing more than any, in my opinion, is Irish bars. Now, I was born in Boston, where there's an Irish bar and a Dunkin' Donuts on every street corner. I spent 7 years in Chicago, which has a ton of Irish in it. Those are 2 really great American cities that love the Irish heritage and love Irish bars. What was it like? I imagine you may have stumbled into one while you were there. Just like the old school, the old oak wood and all that. I can't imagine what that must have been.
Yeah, and I've been to Boston. I've been to Chicago. Multiply it times 1,000. They have them basically stacked on top of each other and right beside each other. It's not like a bar and then a gap and then another bar. It's a bar that backs up to a bar that backs up to a bar. And their main district, you just walk down all the streets. There's these old, it's exactly what you would think it was. These old cobblestone streets that, been there for hundreds of years. But I will say this, they love their live entertainment.
Good.
Whenever me and my son went, every place we went to, they had someone live on stage singing. And they were singing mostly American music, mostly 70s and 80s pop style music. You heard a lot of Journey, a lot of REO Speedwagon. It was almost like being, here in the States, like going to Nashville whenever you're going down Broadway, all the live that they have in every one.
I would have thought it would have been all Thin Lizzy, U2, and maybe the Clancy brothers. And stuff.
No, it wasn't, man. It was like, typical the group Boston, but a lot of Southern rock. You heard a lot of Skinner, a lot of Outlaws that were being played.
Very cool.
And then, of course, they would play, some pop music, but you didn't hear hardly any DJs. And it wasn't like it was canned music. The only time you really heard that is whenever the performer would take maybe a 5 or 10 minute break, they would have a DJ playing some music in between while they're getting something to drink. But overall, man, it was just a great experience.
Awesome. That's great to hear. A lot of good buddies went, and every single one of them said it was absolutely spectacular until the game. They did not play well, and that's really alarming now because they didn't play well a couple of nights ago. Knowles are 0-2. What's their biggest problem?
I don't think that they're very physical on the lines of scrimmage. I think that they don't have a lot of playmakers. I think that their quarterback is average. So when you say what's the problem, I think everything is the problem. Normally, you can find one really good redeeming value, and through both of those weeks, it just did. I really thought after the first game that they just didn't take the game seriously, and then they saw it more as kind of a vacation. It was an event. There was a lot of like I say, it was like going to a bowl game. There was a lot of pageantry around it. Florida State fans like myself, we took the city over. It was 80-20 easy. And I thought that maybe that kind of creeped into the players. Maybe they didn't take Georgia Tech seriously, and it bit them. But after watching what we saw the other night, clearly the problems are a lot deeper. I think everybody knew how good Jordan Travis was. I think this just magnifies the fact that his athleticism and his playmaking ability bailed them out of a lot of situations last year and the year before that. I really think that Coach Norvell needs to look in the mirror. This is I've never really, even when they were 0-4, it was like it was the second year there. I know he wasn't going anywhere, right? So, and then he turned it around. But now it seems like for an offensive coach, they have no offense. And even if you have average players and average lines, you would think you could scheme it up. And I will give him credit. He did have a couple plays where he did scheme it up. And then the quarterback overthrew the wide receiver the other night. So I think that you can get away with one without the other. But whenever you have average play and you have schemes that aren't working, it's just going to be a bad situation.
All of a sudden, it's Memphis that's up. And I think they're only like a 2-point favorite over Memphis, which is just absolutely frightening to think after what happened a year ago. That, I mean, if you were waking up out of a coma right now and you flipped on the radio and you heard me say Florida State's a 2-point favorite over Memphis, you'd be like, what happened? And that's kind of the way that I feel. So there are plenty of issues. There have been dramatic turnarounds. I remember 89 losing here to Lord Favre and then losing Clemson. At that point, the only school that beat Florida State in those years in Tallahassee was Miami. Okay? They turned it around in 89. There's been other times where they've been able to turn. You think they can turn this thing around?
I don't think they're going to win 10 in a row like they did in 89 and finish the year ranked in the top 4. I think that, number one, I think Memphis is, whenever they come in, it's going to be their bowl year. It's going to be their game of the century for them. And I think you better figure some things out. Yep. And you know what? I'm not for throwing in the towel, but if you look at it, you have 2 losses. It's not like one is a non-conference loss. You have 2 conference losses. You need to start getting some people in. I've seen, live by the portal, die by the portal. I think the last 3 years, starting off with Jermaine Johnson, that the portal has been really good to this coach and really good to this team. I think he has hit, and just like on recruits, sometimes you hit on them and sometimes you miss on them. And I think that he's missed on these. If you look at Farmer and you look at Peyton, who are homegrown guys, who just NFL scouts were raving about. Well, all the other team is doing is double teaming those on the line, and then they're daring you to get after them with these other players you brought in. And I think it's about time that people realize that, the porter is not going to be an end-all, be-all. You better hit on them guys just like you better hit on those high-school recruits. You're going to have some bad years, and I don't think that he hit on his portal guys this year.
Danny Van Sickle, our guest. He's with the Electrical Training Alliance. Good buddy of mine. He's back from Dublin, Ireland. All right, let's turn our attention to better news. That's the Jaguars. Again, they're an underdog. They're healthy. Miami's a really good football team. They have quality players on both sides of the football. Last year, Jacksonville got off to an incredible start, 8-3. Are they going to be a part of a hangover that lost 5 out of their last 6, or as professionals, have they been able to turn the page, and do they start with a W on Sunday?
I don't think last year has anything to do with this year. I'm really surprised that they are underdogs in this game, because when you look at the injuries that Miami has and you look at Jaguars being fully healthy, I think part of it is the name. It's the Jaguars. It's against the Dolphins. One thing about it, weather won't be a concern. Those players are used to the same humidity they're going to get down there. But if you look at who they have, obviously they got Tyreek. Mm-hmm. They had a good year last year until they got into the playoffs. And that's kind of been their MO too. Really good during the year and then not so good once they get into the playoffs. But the fact is they made the playoffs and the Jaguars didn't last year. I would expect this more to be a pick'em game. I'm not just saying this because I am a Jaguar fan. I would definitely take the 3 if you had an option to do it. But I think it's real important that they get out to a fast start down there. What you don't want to do is get down early down there and then have a here we go kind of situation. I'm not saying that you got to win it by halftime. It's the NFL. It's probably going to be a 17-14 game at the half. But what you have to do is that second half, you can't have what happened to you last year where you were getting beat up, pushed around, getting gassed at the end. You have to really try to impose your will. You're going to have to run the ball, and you're going to have to control those lines of scrimmage, especially down there, because even though you're used to the heat up here, that doesn't make it any better when you get down there. And it's going to be hot. It's going to be humid. There is no breeze inside that. You've been inside that stadium. There's no breeze at all inside of there.
Nope.
Right? Those fans are only going to do so much when they're on the sidelines. When you're on the field, you're going to have to impose your will against them. And you're going to have to contain Tyreek. Bring your safeties over. That guy will flat out beat you single-handedly if you don't scheme for him the correct way.
Yeah, I don't care how great of shape you're in, and obviously these members of the Jaguars football team are in phenomenal shape. You don't want to have to play catch-up football in the heat. The fatigue will just snap you in half, and that's a good point about getting off to an early lead, or at least within a one-possession game, because if you become one-dimensional and all you can do is you're forced to only pass in the second half because you're trailing, you can throw an interception, you can go a 3 and out, and then what that does is your defense becomes exhausted, and then you put them back on the field, and it's not like the college game where you have 90 guys that you can bring, or 85 guys you can rotate, and you can go at depth. I mean, we know you got 48 out there on a Sunday, man, and depth is not the way it is in college football.
And I was listening to Jeff Lagerman on the station the other day, and he had talked about how he expects Trevor to be at an elite status this year. And when he was questioned about that, are you saying he's as good as Lamar Jackson or Patrick Mahomes? Jeff's answer was he should be right there below him.
Yeah.
Just right there on the cusp.
That's fair.
Listen, we made a lot of excuses. For him to be where he was a can't-miss project, right? He got the contract. They're fully healthy. I think that you need to see him really start to sling it this week. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that he's going to be able to sling it if he doesn't have a good running game, because they're going to just double back on him and make it hard for him. If they could get the running game involved and kind of soften up that defense a little bit, I think this is a game where Trevor can really assert himself, start throwing that ball downfield. I don't know about you, but when I watched him play a lot of times last year, when he threw the ball, they were just probably 6 inches to a foot away from the receiver every time. When he throws to the end zone, they were just a little too high. Those have got to be fixed. And I think now that he's played long enough in the league, he has that internal clock down. He knows that he's only got about 2.5 seconds whenever he drops back to get rid of that ball. Do not hold on to the ball. Throw the ball. Don't try to make silly decisions and run out with it. Live to fight another day. But this is the kind of game, it's going to be a track meet, up and down game. It's the kind of game where he can really assert himself and get on the national level.
You know, I do not like excuses. And when you get to year 4 for Trevor Lawrence, I think so many people will say, bottom line, you paid him this amount of money. There are no excuses. And the things that you just highlighted are so incredibly important. However, I push back on that and I say, I can't get away from what I complained about all off year. And that was, or off season, that was you walk back the same offensive line outside of Mitch Morse. So if all of a sudden he's getting sacked and he's having to get rid of the ball faster than he is supposed to, I'm not an excuse maker, but I think it's relevant. Now, if he does what you said, if he tries to make a play and fumbles, if he hangs onto the ball too long, if he makes the same mistakes he's made the first 3 years, then yes, absolutely, that's on him. But again, I hate excuses. But to me, that's part of this whole equation with what they've done with the offensive line.
Yeah, and they're going to have to figure out a way to get their running backs on the outside and the edges. I don't think that they're going to be running it up the middle. It's not going to be 3 yards in a cloud of dust with this team. They're going to have to find a way. I would say start off by just getting some little passes out of the backfield. It does two things, right? It's going to make that defense play more on the edges because they know that you have speed on the outside. It's going to give him a little bit of confidence to start off with before he starts slinging it downfield. And I think if you look at last year's games, when Etienne was in a groove, man, he was unstoppable. And he was the speed that team needed. And I think that a lot of times they got away from him and probably left him a little too early. And I think the game plan this year, or this game, ought to be, let's keep them involved. Let's keep Tank involved. Let's get these running backs steadily running. Let's see if we can't open stuff up for Trevor. Because this is the NFL. You're not seeing guys running wide open. So you got to have a quarterback that can place that ball right where it needs to be.
If you're taking a look at J.J. LaSelva's biceps lately, he's carrying this entire radio station right now. He, along with Leon Searcy, with his Miami Canes fandom.
To the victor goes the spoils, man. Whenever my sons were younger, right, and they was like 2006, 2007, that they were only 8, 9, 10 years old, something like that. Florida was just winning and winning. All their friends at school were wearing Florida stuff, and they never wavered from Florida State, but they did say to me, Dad, are we always going to be this bad? And I had to tell them, boys, part of the joy of being the fan is living through the bad times, because when the good times come, and they will come, they will be that much more sweeter. Well, Jimbo comes, we win national championships, you see Florida start to go down, and I proved to be the prophet that I said I was. Well, now it was only I've said it for years and years and years. There was no excuse for Miami to be as bad as they've been the last couple of years. They have all the resources, all the talent. And I think now, I've even heard people feel bad for Miami the last couple of years. Like, man, Mario's such a great guy. It's just too bad they can't get together. And I tell them, listen, you clearly weren't around in the early 90s. There was no feeling sorry for the University of Miami. Yeah. Enjoy when they're down, because they won't stay down. They might stay down a little bit longer than other years, but right now, just looking at what they saw on Saturday, and it is one game, and I get it. You can't throw the whole season on one game, but that's all you have to go off of. And if you look at what they've done, you look at the recruiting that they have. I just mentioned about the recruiting. Listen, Mauricio's a transfer portal too, but look at the recruits. Look at Bain. Look at the people that he's brought in there. It was only a matter of time before they get good. And you know what? They deserve it. They get to I'm looking at my schedule now, and I'm looking at us having to play them down there. I'm hoping that they just overlook us. I'm hoping that they feel sorry for us and just think they're going to come in and cakewalk it.
I'm more worried about Memphis in 12 days. I'll be honest with you. And you mentioned that Florida, man. I never thought that I would do it after everything that I've done and what have you, that in 2008, when Florida State and Florida kicked off, I teed off at Hammock Beach and played a round of golf. I mean, I knew that they were going to get blown out, and I just said to myself, why put yourself through it for 3.5 hours on the television set? Go out and try to have at least some sort of a good time.
So I got one better. 2020, when they played Miami in that night game, after Miami got up 3 touchdowns on them, like early in the second quarter.
The Taggart year.
It was like 9:30 at night. I actually went out to my garage, and I cleaned my garage
Oh, that was Norvell's first
Yeah,
year.
it was more because it was COVID year.
You cleaned the garage.
I went to my garage and I literally cleaned on a Saturday night instead of watching my team play. I went out to my garage and I worked on cleaning my garage that Saturday night. Me and my wife, we were joking about that actually a week ago.
There you go. Tell us about the Electrical Training Alliance.
We are starting our school next week. Actually, it's been a great summer. The majority of our students have had the summer off. We have a couple classes that run during the summer, but like I said, the majority of them, we give them the summer to spend time with their families. A lot of them work extra hours during that time. There's a lot of shutdowns at our paper mills. And, so they've been able to enjoy their summer, be it make some extra money or be it spend time with their families. But school starts back next week. Biggest class ever. Like I said, we took in 100 first-year apprentices. We have over 350 total students. Just kind of put that in perspective, we had less than 100 students in 2011. So we've had great growth inside this area. Our union and our contractors have worked hard to gain market share, and it's worked. We have a lot of work. We have a lot of apprentices, and we are just so excited at the Training Alliance to get this year started.
All right, what's the target date for moms and dads listening? Maybe high school students, maybe some folks, college is too expensive. Maybe you're in presently you're in a career that you're just not a fan of. It's going sideways, and you want to make a career change.
So like we talked about, we take 2 classes a year. We will take in a winter class. The deadline for that is November the 8th. So we'll take a class in January. This past year, we took in 60 apprentices. And so for those who want to go to our website, check us out, check out our YouTube channel, check out all the pictures that we have, look at all the information. You have until November 8th to qualify for our winter class. And we will be taking another winter class. And there's so much work, there's so much demand for electricians out there that taking one big class a year just isn't enough for us anymore.
How do they get a hold of you?
Real easy. etajax.org.
Always good to see you, Danny Van Sickle. Welcome back from Dublin.
Always glad to be here. Thank you for having me, Rick.
There he goes. Danny Van Sickle, the very latest there with the Electrical Training Alliance. All right, when we come back, let's put our final touches on this one right here on a Wednesday. Got a lot of good stuff in on the text line, 641-1010. We'll get to some of them and everything else that's going on. We roll tonight till 8.
Pick the best picks and win a pizza party from Salvatore's Pizza at Tapestry Park. Pick the worst. You'll still win some pizza. Just not enough for a party. The 1010 Weekly Pick'em Contest is brought to you by MyBookie.
You pick 'em.
At 1010XL.com.
Ballou for Shinatri Chiropractic. They've helped me get rid of my headaches and pain in my neck and back. Are you suffering from an auto accident? What about TMJ pain? Headaches associated with jaw clenching, grinding of the teeth, or stress-related disorders? Shinatri Chiropractic has a physical therapist on staff for rehabilitation, quality chiropractic care, dry needling, massage, and acupuncture. Call 743-6700 or go to ShinatriDC.com.
Hey, Scarline here. If you're like me in the fall, you want to watch football, not clean. Enter Molly Maid, voted Bold City Best Cleaning Service 3 years in a row. Molly Maid is reliable, friendly, and thorough. Visit mollymaid.com.
Collisions happen on every play in football. Collisions also happen every day on the road. If you need auto body repair, from a $30 job to a $30,000 job, trust San Jose Collision in Mandarin.
Our slogan, Know Before You Blow, applies to more than just DUI cases. Hi, I'm attorney Lee Lockett of Lockett Law. Battery charges can result in jail time and criminal convictions too, so know before you blow a gasket and hit a loved one or a stranger. Drug crimes like possession of marijuana and cocaine will land you in cuffs too, so know before you blow. In a boating under the influence case, you also have the option to blow or not to blow. So know your options. Know before you blow. Go to knowbeforeyouBlow.com now. Offices Jacksonville.
Follow the Canes as they storm the ACC.
I'm 1010XL's JJ LaSelva, and every week I'll bring you the Miami news and notes you need to know.
The Performance Painting Hurricane Report on 1010XL. Prepare, protect, preserve.
Hey, sports fans, this is Hayes Carline from MyBookie. It's that time of year. Winning season is back. Football is back. And MyBookie's here to make sure you're ready to cash in on the action. They do such a fantastic job. They've got live betting. If a heavy favorite gets off to a slow start, that's something to look to take advantage of. They also have a fantastic loyalty program. Loyalty pays off with MyBookie. The more you play, the more you win. It's simple. Climb through the tiers of the loyalty rewards program to unlock even more epic terrific promotions, exclusive giveaways, and bigger rewards, MyBookie is the lock of the century. It's going to be such a fun season again. They've got prop bets as well. If you can think about it, if you can imagine it, MyBookie is going to deliver it for you. When you sign up, be sure to use promo code 1010XL to lock in some bonus on your first deposit. Bet on anything, anywhere, anytime, and make sure your season is a winning season with MyBookie. And don't forget that promo code 1010XL.
Florida homeowners are going to extreme lengths to stay cool this summer.
We sit in front of the refrigerator with the door open and only eat frozen foods while they're still frozen and put ice cubes down our pants. Whoa, that's cold.
But the most popular and cost-effective way can be summed up by a quack. Just call Duck Duck Air Conditioning. For AC repairs to new installations, you too can beat the Florida heat with Duck Duck Air Conditioning. Jacksonville area's AC experts. Trust the Duck to keep your cooling costs low. DuckDuckAC.com.
Time now for a medical recap. A health and wellness tip from Jaguars head team physician, Dr. Kevin Kaplan.
Establishing a regular sleeping pattern is crucial for your well-being. This includes going to bed at roughly the same time every night and waking up around the same time every morning. You may even consider turning off all electronic devices an hour before bedtime. Ever wonder why you can't fall asleep after staring at your phone right before bed? Studies show that the light from your phone actually decreases melatonin production, therefore causing disruptions to your sleep throughout the night. Get some rest before the big game. Go Jags.
Rick Ballou for Carlson Dental. You know, I've been telling you this for quite some time because it's true. I hate going to the dentist, or at least I used to hate going to the dentist. I had total anxiety, and then I tried sedation. Light sedation for cleaning and deep sedation as well for cavities and root canals. Folks, it's an incredible experience. So don't be nervous. Don't be scared. Go to carlsondentalgroup.com. That's carlsondentalgroup.com for all of your dental needs.
What makes a Honda certified pre-owned vehicle so special? 182-point inspection, 24/7 roadside assistance, first-year free oil changes, and a 7-year, 100,000-mile warranty for carefree driving backed by American Honda. Visit your local Honda dealer today.
What is the rule if a baseball hits the foul pole? The answer next.
How long has it been since you compared homeowners' insurance rates? Log on to southernoak.com to get an instant quote or find an agent near you.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
A baseball hitting the foul pole is ruled a fair ball. And if it's above the wall, well, that's a home run.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
Our most popular meat combo is ready to grill this season. Pounds and pounds of marinated steak tips and chicken, fresh ground beef, and homemade sausage. Just ask for the sampler combo.
For tasty tips and juicy breasts, choose Southern Steer Butcher.
Ballou here for the Blue Crab House, located right off of San Jose. It's on Jewington Creek Road. They've been around since 1996. Indoor-outdoor dining. Also, takeout is available at the Blue Crab House. Open 4:30 to 9, Tuesday through Saturday. Sunday, noon until 9. Remember, Tuesday, $2 margaritas. Wednesday, $1 oyster night. How about the blue crabs? How about my personal favorite, the Canadian snow crabs? Whatever it is that you fancy, you get it right there. The Blue Crab House.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, the Cool Down with Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing. Keeping Jack's cool since 1987.
A lot of news on this Wednesday, including the Florida Gators. Graham Mertz has the concussion. DJ Lagway will get the start. Coming up on Saturday for the Gators, man. And you know, huge dilemmas here for Billy Napier and for Mike Norvell. What if he's dominant against Samford? Okay? I got to believe Gator fans, when you look at this incredibly difficult schedule, are like, play our future. Play this guy. He's going to be so good. He's going to spend 3 years in college football, and bam, he's off to the NFL. Even though Graham Mertz completes, 73% of his passes and is a grizzled veteran with a ton of starts at Wisconsin or Florida, you can see what's ahead of you. And that is your future. But Billy Napier's fighting for his job. I'm sure Billy Napier says, when you start taking on Texas A&M and everyone that follows, who gives you a better chance to win that game? A guy with all these starts or a guy with one career start? And I think when it's all said and done, Billy Napier's looking at his future, and he's going to go back to Graham Mertz. But who knows? Maybe DJ Lagway is so good that you have to play him. You know, he's so good that you have to. On the flip side, when I look at what's going on in Tallahassee, you know, right now DJU is the one that everyone is complaining about. He has not been good, but it's not all his fault. It's not. There are problems right now with the offense as far as the play calling, the lack of running. Defensively, they've been atrocious. They can't get off the field. I don't think Brock Glenn is the answer. I don't think Florida State's going to be relevant until Ru Krummenhoek takes over this team. To me, I only watched 2 practices. I thought he was the best of the 3 quarterbacks. Denny Thompson told us he's the best high school quarterback he's ever seen. Is it too soon to play him? All right. Is there a difference between him and Lagway? I don't know. It probably is a little bit too quick to put him in. He's been 3rd string. And Mike Norvell is not looking over his shoulder right now. He's got an $85 million buyout. I mean, he's there. He's there for quite some time. I'd be very surprised if they go to Brock Glenn for Memphis in 12 days. They could. They could. I know that would make Florida State fans happy. That could be the direction. Before we get to the injury report here on the Jaguars game on Sunday, give me your thoughts on Gainesville. What if DJ Lagway tears this up against Samford, an inferior opponent?
Which he could
What
pretty
do you
easily.
do?
I would probably start Mertz against A&M if he's available, just because from what I saw from Lagway yesterday or Saturday, he certainly has a better arm.
Mm-hmm.
But the second that first read was there, like he was, looking out, making sure he wasn't going to get sacked. So I don't know if he has if all of his mental is there. That's the one thing that I do know that Mertz has. He's a veteran. He didn't look good against Miami, but I mean, last year he still was a pretty good, dump down quarterback, game manager type guy. And I still think they could beat A&M. I mean, I know they looked absolutely atrocious on Saturday, but it is just one game. And this crappy Gator team still was able to beat A&M last year, right? So I don't put it past them to beat them. I think Mertz would be the answer, though.
All right, you've watched both Florida State games. They've got a litany of problems. Is it all DJU here?
No.
Do you put him on the bench?
No way. Because if Brock, whatever his name is, Brock Glenn, if he was any good, he could have been beating out DJU this entire offseason. So I just feel like if he was any good, he would have already won the starting job. We didn't hear anything good about DJU all offseason. So it's not like he was just killing it in camp. I feel like the coaching staff knows that he's their best option, and I don't think it's all been on him. I mean, that defense on Sunday was so terrible. They never had a shot when you're giving up 250-plus rushing yards. So I would stick with DJU at least for another couple games.
Of course, Florida State off this weekend. They'll play Memphis in a week. The Gators have, who was it again? Samford. And we'll have that for you right here on these airwaves. Okay, Hacker getting set to join us here in just a minute. Jaguars injury report is short. Daniel Thomas, an Achilles, limited today. That is a 50% chance as to whether or not he'll go on Sunday. For the Miami Dolphins, Jalen Phillips, one of their pass rushers, also an outside linebacker with an Achilles, did not practice today. Jalen Ramsey with a hamstring did not practice today as a cornerback. All right? The 2 safeties, when you look at Jordan Pryor, a thumb, and it also says /veteran rest day, but still limited. And Javon Holland is a safety with an ankle. He was able to give it a go today, but he is still on the injury report. Others, David Long, a starting linebacker. That was actually a veteran's rest day, along with Calais Campbell. Their starting center, Andrew Brewer, with a hand He did not practice today. And also Benito Jones on the defensive line with a knee. He had the day off. Their starting tackle, Teron Armstead, their starting left tackle, had a Veterans Day off. So it's a little bit misleading with the Miami Dolphins injury report because of the veterans and their day off. But compared to Jacksonville, I mean, it is night and day. The Jaguars are as healthy as you could ask for as they get the take on the Dolphins Sunday at 1 o'clock.
Now, the 2-minute drill, brought to you by Injury Care Centers. Discover BioTarget Regenerative Therapy, a safer drug-free solution for lasting pain relief. Visit GoBioTarget.com.
Health is important, Hacker, and this football team in this great city, they are healthy.
They are. Daniel Thomas, the only question mark, and he was in good spirits today in the locker room, so we don't know if he's going to give it a go or not. I know he was limited, but you couldn't ask to be healthier going into a season opener, whereas you said Miami's battling some stuff, and Bradley Chubb's not even on that injury report because he's on the PUP list. They're starting edge rusher, and he's out the first 4 games of the year.
The thing that got me is the 2 injuries I had been talking about late last week. I've been mentioning Jalen, but we didn't know officially what it was. It's now reported officially today that it's the hamstring. But I was talking about Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. Those are the 2 that kind of got especially Hill, the major headlines. Neither one of those 2 are on the injury report.
No, they seem like they're good to go. And when talking about Ramsey, tomorrow's probably a big day for him. He did not practice today. If he doesn't practice tomorrow with a hamstring, all of a sudden you get into Friday, who knows? So maybe there is a chance he would miss the game. Apparently he hasn't done very much there the last couple of weeks at Dolphin camp.
I'm conflicted because I don't want to see anyone get injured. I would love for him not to play. It gives Jacksonville a better chance to win the game. But it is game 1, and it's important, sure. But I also want to see these receivers and what this offense is able to do against one of the better cornerbacks in the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, I said this last night. I honestly don't like Jacksonville's chances on Sunday. Now, if you combine some of these injuries for Miami, I think that helps. This is a game Miami should win. They're at home. Opening day, they're a playoff team last year. They're the favorite going in. Miami should win this game. It would be a mild upset if Jacksonville goes down there and wins. But I can tell you this, being in that locker room today at the Miller Electric Center, it is a very confident Jacksonville Jaguar football team making that trip to South Florida.
If DJ Lagway just tears up Sanford, does this become Lou Gehrig to Wally Pipp?
I still think Graham Mertz would get the job back if he's ready to go for Texas A&M. Billy Napier knows he's coaching for his job, and I don't know if you want to put a true freshman out there against A&M and Kentucky and Mississippi State and Tennessee, and that's even before that ferocious 5-game stretch. So I would imagine, and look, I like Graham Mertz. He didn't play very well on Saturday, obviously. I want to see DJ Lagway, but I'm hard-pressed to think that they have a better shot at winning games with Lagway in there as opposed to Graham Mertz.
There's no doubt. And when you have a lame duck coach fighting for it, you're going to go with the veteran. Maybe packages are a part of it for Lagway. That could be part of the equation depending on how he plays Saturday. All right, what's coming up?
Yeah, we're jam-packed. Our Jaguars locker room talk. I went one-on-one earlier today with Ventrell Miller, Cooper Hodges, and Chad Muma. You'll hear all those conversations tonight on Hacker After Dark. Also, Leon Searcy joins me, and we will go to Gainesville. Nick De La Torre of On3 and Gators Online to try to pick up the pieces for Gator fans and what happens next as the season continues Saturday.
All right, Hack, have a great show.
Thanks, Rick.
Hacker Nation is coming up. That's going to do it for us right here. Tomorrow night, 6 to 8. By the way, on Friday, I'll be with you 4 to 6 with Hayes Carline. So we've made an adjustment here. We're not going to stick with the 4-2-5 defense if all you're doing is running the football. We're going to make an adjustment. So I'll be with Hayes Friday 4 to 6. Thank you to the Philly Godfather. Thank you to John Osher. Thank you to Danny Van Sickle. Thank you to our producer, J.J. LaSelva. Tomorrow night, same deal, 6 to 8 on a Thursday. My name's Rick Ballou. I'll talk with you then.
You see it.